Welcome to MLS Fantasy Blueprint. My name is Bill, and I'll be taking you through my picks for game week 4. So, a little bit of a recap. After 3 weeks, I'm in 106th overall. Game week 3, 68 points. It took me from 191 up to 106. For the second week in a row, my defenders and keeper actually returned. All of them did, which I was thrilled with. As far as the attackers, not the greatest news ever. Some low scores across the board. I did get the captaincy correct, which I was happy with. I figured Messi wouldn't play, so I swapped the armband over to Benteke, which was a good move. I had two players miss PKs, but that did affect a lot of people, and overall I did improve, and I jumped up to 106, so can't be too mad about that. Okay, next I'm going to point out my overall salary, 109.35, which is fine. I'm seeing a lot of other teams with over 110, but for the first couple weeks, I've decided to go for the points and not necessarily just pick the players that I know are going to rise. All right, let's talk about picks for this week. So, goalies, with the red card to the Miami keeper, this does complicate things because everyone was just putting him in the starting slot, but he's no longer an option. So, we need two actual keepers. It's looking guaranteed that the New York City keeper is going to be on my team, Matt Freeze. 5.8, he's one of the cheapest options, and they actually have a decent chance against a not so great New England team. And then the other person I'm considering, I don't know if I'm actually going to go for him, but Coronel for Red Bulls. The main thing is it's the early game. So if he does hit, it does make the rest of the lineup easier. You can scrub the other goalie and give yourself a couple million to work with. So he is a strong consideration. Okay, let's talk defenders. So these are four that I'm really looking at. Wagner for Philadelphia. I think a lot of people are going to want him in their team this week. He's got an assist in his first three games. Now, can we expect that to happen game week 4? Maybe not. Probably not, but he's a good pick, and he's probably going to increase in value as well. All right, next, as long as this guy's starting for Houston, he will 100% be on my team. They're playing Salt Lake, who's not been great, and his price at 4.1 is insane if he's actually starting. I'm pretty sure he's played all 90 minutes the first three games. Let's see if I'm right on that. Yeah, he's played every minute so far. So that looks like crazy good value. Next is this guy from New York City, 4.7. He started last game. Pretty sure he played the whole game. Decently involved. Could be getting some bonus points. Can't beat the price. So he's 99% locked in to my team. Now, LAFC, I'm going to be honest, I think I'm going to avoid them for a couple reasons. The main reason is they've been rotating their defenders like crazy. Now, I don't really know this team that well. So if you know the pattern, go for it. Segura's, I think, the cheapest option. There might be another player who ends up starting, but they've been pulling people at half. They've been pulling people at 52nd minute mark. So I'll just worry about if they're going to get the 60 minutes or not. So I don't think he's a great option, but it's a good matchup against Austin. All right. Four more defenders. Ricketts is like the most owned defender right now, and he probably will stay that way because they got a home game against a not great offensive team, and he's scheduled for a price rise. Okay, Valencia, he got pulled at halftime last game after playing like every minute the first two games. Very involved. I gotta look and see why he got pulled at half. I think maybe he had a yellow card. If that's the case, I probably will roll with him and stick him on the bench, hope he hits, make the rest of the game week easier. Okay, here's another player I'm strongly considering. 4.5. Looks to be a starter for Philadelphia. They've been playing awesome. Playing against not a great national team. If he does make the starting lineup, he's a strong contender. And then lastly, Tate Johnson. I don't know if he's going to start again. That's the deal with a lot of these low price players. They have 14 points, so he's going to have a massive price rise. I think people are taking him and just sticking him on their bench for that reason. Next. So it's been a little bit tricky to figure out the midfielders this week. I do think these first two are going to be in a lot of lineups. Gazdag for Philadelphia. Basically, Philadelphia has one of the best matchups this week against Nashville, but playing at home, and he's been really good. And then Dreyer, just like a bonus points machine, basically at this point. Now they're playing a good team, but they are at home, so you would expect him to have a lot of key passes, have some shots on target. He's had goals and assists, so he's going to be a popular pick for sure. Okay, after that, it's basically take your pick. So these are two home teams, Toronto and Portland. Chicago's defense has been awful. I don't know a ton about this player, but he seems to be like that attacking midfielder that should be heavily involved in what Toronto's up to on offense. So the matchup's good, a little bit pricey, but all the good players are a little pricey at this point. And then DaCosta for Portland. LA Galaxy defense has been atrocious. Portland offense has not been good, but he is someone I'm definitely considering. All right, four additional players. Hartel, Hartle. Sorry, I don't know some of these players. I haven't seen some of these players play. The Seattle matchup, we don't know for sure. Seattle's going to have an additional game this week, so who knows how much rotation they have. But St. Louis has been decent, and 8.7, potentially he's going to rise in price. And then Forsberg for sure I'm looking at because he's got the early game. The problem is Red Bulls have not done a ton on offense. Orlando's, I think, like middle of the road defensively. So I'm not crazy about this pick, but he is someone I'm looking at. Acosta, he's only 8.6. I think he was one of the best players last year. And they're playing against a really good defensive team, but Vancouver lost one of their top playmakers. They've got the midweek game. So it's possible they're just going to be a little bit weakened. So I'm really looking at him at 8.6. I think that's a great value pick. And then Segovia, if he starts, I think there's a good chance I'll play him because I need to save money so I can afford all the other good players I want. And at 7.2, he's probably going to rise in price. It's Miami. They're probably going to score. Atlanta's been pretty bad. It is on the road for Miami. I think Messi's not going to play, which means Segovia has a better chance of starting. Even though they don't necessarily play the same position, it does open up a spot in the lineup. So I do think he's a good pick. Okay, when it comes to forwards, these two I think are going to be in like every lineup. Look at the goal scoring odds. Benteke is my number one pick this week. He's probably going to be my captain as well. But Rebo just cannot stop scoring. He's averaging 12.3 points a game. He's only 8.8. It's pretty much a no-brainer. Now, the last pick, I don't think is going to be as obvious. I'm hoping not a ton of people pick him because I think he is a slam dunk. 8.8, going against a pretty bad team. The goal scoring odds are really good. So I don't even have a fourth striker. Those are going to be my three picks, like 100%. Messi, I'm not going to go for him. Fingers crossed. I don't think he's going to play. If he does, fingers crossed he doesn't score three goals against a bad Atlanta team. But that's what I'm going with.